My brothers and sisters, I want to talk to you today about something that we all desperately need in this chaotic world: inner peace. We live in a time where noise surrounds us, distractions pull at our minds, and stress tries to take root in our hearts. And in the middle of all this turmoil, we are searching for peace. But the question is, how do we find it? In a world that never stops moving, with a constant hum of technology, the demands of life and the noise of the outside world bombard us every day, we've lost the power of stillness. We've become so accustomed to the distractions, the busyness, and the rush that we've forgotten the profound impact that simply being still can have on our souls. Yet it is in the stillness that we often find the peace, clarity, and strength we so desperately seek. When we talk about stillness, we are not referring to physical silence alone, though that plays a part. It's a deeper kind of stillness, a stillness of the mind, a stillness of the heart, a stillness of the spirit. This stillness is not about escaping from life or hiding from the challenges we face. It is about creating a sacred space where we can reconnect with ourselves and ultimately with God. The act of stillness is an invitation. It's an invitation to step away from the chaos and the noise and enter into a place of reflection and renewal. Prayer at its core is an invitation to stillness. When we pray, we are not just talking to God, we are seeking His presence, asking Him to quiet our minds, to calm our hearts, and to open our spirits. Prayer requires us to take a pause, to be present with God in the moment. It's a moment of surrender where we lay down our burdens and open ourselves to divine intervention, trusting that in His presence we will find the peace that surpasses all understanding. Meditation, on the other hand, offers us a different kind of stillness. It's the act of consciously silencing the mind and bringing our awareness to the present moment. In meditation, we focus on our breath, our body, or even a specific thought or word, guiding ourselves away from the worries of tomorrow and the regrets of yesterday. Meditation is not about escaping life. It's about being fully present in it. It is in that presence that we can truly encounter peace. By quieting our minds, we create the space for clarity to emerge. In this space, we are able to connect with the essence of who we are and tune into the deeper truths of our lives. The power of stillness is transformative. When we enter into stillness, we become more aware of what is happening inside of us. We start to hear our thoughts, our fears, our hopes, and our struggles. Stillness forces us to confront the inner noise we often try to avoid. And in that confrontation, something powerful happens. We begin to heal. Prayer and meditation help us to still the surface so that we can dive deeper into our own hearts and souls. When we allow ourselves to truly sit in that stillness, we begin to hear God's voice more clearly. We begin to understand our own hearts, begin to understand our own hearts, to begin to, that the power of stillness also lies in its ability to restore our balance. It allows us to recalibrate, to reset, and to refresh our spirits. Stillness doesn't just provide a break from the hustle and bustle, it restores us from the inside out, renewing our strength for the journey ahead. When we sit still, we allow God to do what only He can do: heal, restore, and give us peace that the world cannot offer. Faith is the bridge that connects us to something greater than ourselves. It is the foundation upon which we stand when the storms of life threaten to shake us to our core. Without faith, we are left to navigate the chaos of this world alone, relying solely on our own understanding and strength. But with faith, we are anchored to a divine purpose, a higher calling, and a strength that comes from beyond our own limitations. In prayer, faith plays a pivotal role. Prayer is more than just a ritual or a set of words spoken to the air. It is a deep expression of trust in God. When we pray, we are acknowledging that we are not in control of everything. We are surrendering our will to a higher power, trusting that God knows what is best for us, even when we cannot see the full picture. It's an act of faith to bring our fears, our desires, our pain, and our joy before the Lord, knowing that He hears us, understands us, and will respond according to His perfect will. In those moments when life feels overwhelming, when the weight of our burdens becomes too much to bear, faith in prayer helps us to stay grounded. It reminds us that we are not alone, that there is a force far greater than ourselves working behind the scenes on our behalf. Faith in prayer allows us to release control and lean into the peace that comes from knowing that God is working all things together for our good. It's not just about asking for what we want, it's about trusting God to answer in His way and His time. Meditation too requires faith, but in a different way. In meditation, we practice faith in the present moment, trusting that by being still and quieting our minds, we can connect with the divine presence that resides within us. Meditation asks us to trust that peace is available to us in the here and now, even when circumstances around us seem turbulent. It requires faith to sit quietly with our thoughts, to let go of the need to control everything, and to trust that in that silence, God is still working. Meditation helps us to cultivate an awareness of His presence in the present moment, strengthening our faith that He is always with us, even in the quietest and most uncertain times. Faith in both prayer and meditation is not just about believing that God exists. It's about believing that God is actively involved in our lives, guiding us, healing us, and providing for us. It's a faith that goes beyond mere belief and manifests in action. In prayer, faith compels us to speak our hearts openly and to believe that God will respond. In meditation, faith compels us to be still, to listen, and to trust that peace and clarity will come in time. When we engage in both practices, we are invited to build a faith that is unshakable. Faith in prayer encourages us to seek God's guidance, while faith in meditation encourages us to trust in His timing. Together, these practices deepen our relationship with the divine and ground us in the truth that God's presence is always with us, whether we are speaking to Him in prayer or silently resting in His peace through meditation. The mind is a battlefield, a place where thoughts, emotions, and desires constantly clash. It is where our deepest fears are fought, our hopes are cultivated, and where our perceptions of the world are shaped. Every day we face a constant internal struggle, often without even realizing it. The thoughts we entertain can either uplift us or weigh us down. The emotions we give into can either bring us peace or create chaos. In this mental battleground, the stakes are high because the state of our mind determines the quality of our life. When we turn to prayer, we are not just asking for things. We are engaging in an active battle for our minds. Prayer invites us into a space where we confront our deepest anxieties, fears, and uncertainties. It is in prayer that we lay down our worries before God and ask for His help in calming our minds. We seek His peace, His wisdom, and His strength to overcome the mental battles we face. The words we speak in prayer are weapons in this fight. declaring our trust in God, our reliance on His power, and our need for His guidance. Prayer doesn't just change our external circumstances, it transforms the way we see and process the world around us. It helps us to gain victory over the negative thoughts that often threaten to consume us. When we face challenges, doubts, or setbacks, the mind is the first place the battle begins. If we allow our minds to run wild with fear, discouragement, and doubt, the battle is already lost. But when we bring those thoughts into submission through prayer, we reclaim our mental space. We remind ourselves that we are not defined by our fears or our circumstances, but by the truth that God is with us and will never leave us. Prayer becomes a tool of warfare where we declare victory over the lies that try to take hold of our minds. We speak words of faith that push out doubt and bring in peace. Meditation, too, plays a crucial role in winning the battle of the mind. It is in meditation that we learn to take control of our thoughts, to focus on the present moment, and to ground ourselves in the truth of who we are. In meditation, we quiet the noise of the world and of our minds, creating a space to reflect, to breathe, and to release the clutter that fills our hearts and heads. The battle of the mind is not just a matter of defeating negative thoughts, but of choosing where to place our attention. Through meditation, we learn the power of awareness. We become conscious of the thoughts that arise within us, and in that awareness, we gain the ability to let them go. We stop identifying with every thought that comes to mind, recognizing that not every thought is worth holding on to. Meditation helps us to cultivate the mental discipline needed to filter out the noise, creating a clear and focused mind that is capable of seeing things as they truly are. It is through this process of stillness and focus that we regain control over the battlefield of our mind. The mind's battlefield is constant, but it is not insurmountable. Through prayer, we engage in the spiritual warfare necessary to overcome the negative forces that seek to control our thoughts. Through meditation, we cultivate the mental strength needed to focus on what truly matters. Together, these practices allow us to transform our minds from a place of chaos to a place of peace, where we are no longer at the mercy of our thoughts, but the masters of them. Life is a journey, and at the heart of this journey lies the deep need for connection. We long to connect with others, to find common ground, and to experience the warmth of relationships. But more than just our connection with people, there is a deeper, more profound connection that we seek. The connection to our inner selves and to the divine presence of God. In this world that is often filled with distractions and divisions, we find that true peace comes from building a connection that goes beyond the surface level. When we engage in prayer, we embark on a journey of connection that transcends the physical world. Prayer is not just about asking for what we need, it is about opening our hearts and minds to God. In prayer, we step into a space where we communicate directly with our Creator, sharing our deepest desires, fears, dreams, and struggles. It is in those intimate moments of prayer that we find our connection to God, where we are reminded that we are not alone in this journey. Through prayer, we establish a bond that is rooted in trust, love, and faith, creating a two-way communication that allows us to both speak and listen. When we pray, we are not simply performing a ritual, we are entering into an ongoing relationship with God. It is a relationship that is built on faith and love, where we offer ourselves to Him and seek His presence in our lives. Prayer is an invitation to connect with God on a deeper level, to experience His grace, His wisdom, and His peace. It is through prayer that we find clarity in our lives, that we discover answers to our questions, and that we feel the comfort of His presence when we are lost or uncertain. Meditation, too, is a journey of connection, but it takes us on a different path. Meditation invites us into stillness, into silence, where we learn to connect with the present moment. In meditation, we cultivate awareness, bringing our attention to the here and now. Through this practice, we connect with our inner selves, allowing us to recognize the thoughts and emotions that arise within us. But more than that, meditation helps us to connect with the divine within, reminding us that God is always present, even in the quiet moments of life. It is in meditation that we experience a deep sense of inner peace, where we let go of the distractions of the world and rest in the stillness of God's presence. Both prayer and meditation serve as paths to connection, but they do so in complementary ways. Prayer is an active expression of our desires, a dialogue with God where we seek guidance, healing, and strength. Meditation, on the other hand, is a passive experience of stillness, where we simply are, where we listen and allow God's peace to wash over us. Together, these practices form a beautiful union that deepens our connection to God, to ourselves, and to the world around us. The journey of connection is not always easy. There are times when distractions, doubts, and struggles cloud our minds, and it feels as if the connection is lost. But through the disciplines of prayer and meditation, we are constantly invited back into that sacred space where we can reconnect. It is in these moments of reconnection that we experience the true power of inner peace, knowing that we are held by a love that transcends all understanding and that we are never truly alone on this journey. The soul, the very essence of who we are, carries with it the weight of our experiences. It absorbs the joys, the pains, the triumphs, and the heartbreaks that life offers. Over time, the soul can become scarred, burdened, and weary, burdened by the trials and wounds that life inevitably brings. It can feel fractured and distant from its true peace, struggling to find rest amidst the chaos of the world. And yet, within the depths of the soul, there is always the potential for healing, a restoration that transcends the circumstances around us. Healing of the soul begins with acknowledging the wounds it carries. Too often we mask the hurt, bury it deep within, and attempt to move forward without addressing the brokenness inside. We try to mask our pain with distractions, achievements, or even false facades of strength. But the truth is, the soul knows the truth. It carries the weight of everything we've experienced, and it will continue to cry out for healing until we are willing to listen. Prayer offers the first step toward healing. It's a space where we can be vulnerable, where we can bring our wounds, our grief, and our scars before God. In prayer, we open ourselves to His healing touch, surrendering our pain and asking for His guidance. Prayer is not just about asking for things. It's about inviting God into the broken places of our hearts. When we pray, we offer God access to our deepest hurts, and in return, we allow His love, grace, and healing to flow into those very areas of our lives that need it most. The act of surrender in prayer is an act of faith, one that says, I am not strong enough on my own, but I trust you to heal what has been wounded. And in that trust, the healing begins. Meditation also plays a crucial role in the healing of the soul. While prayer is an active conversation with God, meditation offers us the space to listen, to hear what the soul truly needs. In the quiet, we can reflect on the wounds and the scars, but also on the ways in which God has already worked in our lives. Meditation provides us the opportunity to sit with our feelings, to allow them to surface, and to process them in the stillness of God's presence. Through meditation, we let go of the distractions of the world and focus on the healing power that exists in the present moment. It is in this space of reflection that we learn to release the burdens that weigh us down, bitterness, anger, fear, and replace them with peace, acceptance, and forgiveness. Both prayer and meditation are vehicles for healing, but they require a willingness to be honest with ourselves. Healing doesn't come overnight, and it doesn't come by ignoring the pain. It comes through facing it, acknowledging it, and surrendering it to God. It requires patience, trust, and the belief that restoration is possible. The soul may carry wounds, but it is not defined by them. The same way a broken vessel can be mended and made whole again, so too can the soul experience a renewal that brings peace and strength.